this episode we're going to be working on this 1992 Kona Explosif. It's a nice light steel retro bike from back in the day. Now this is a custom build because it would have originally been black frame, but when we got it, it was powder coated white anyway. So myself and my son have had a bit of fun with it, and we splatter painted it with some modelling paint, so it's got some nice rainbow effect colours on it. Because Konas of that era, they would have come with a paint job like this from the factory anyway, the early ones did. So we're going to be putting some wicked XT components on it, some Shimano stuff that I've accumulated, and we've got some Project 2 forks that I'm spraying up now, so join me, let's get cracking. Welcome to my exterior paint booth, and you can see we've got all the modern features in the bike barn. Now these are the components that we're going to be sticking on the bike. So we've got the top cap for the stem, the 1.8" stem here. It would have been a Velocity stem on the Kona, but this is just a Marin one that I had. These are the Project 2 forks that I picked up off of eBay. They were grey and scratched up when I got them, but I've given them a nice coat of glossy black. And I've also got some Marin 560 handlebars alloy that I've sprayed black to match. So I've got these wicked stickers from my boy Gil at Retro Decals. Chuck those on. Join us in a sec, we'll give it a coat of lacquer. Yeah, this is me. I'm just touching in a couple of little chips, smudges on the paint that we did while we were putting the stickers on, so just going black before we put the clear coat on. Okay, yeah, now we get onto the clear coat. So I use a heavy duty lacquer, and you can see me, I'm just starting on the stem. It's important to get into all the little nooks and crannies first before you do the main body of the component. So you can see me here, little and often really, just go steady with it. Don't put too much on, else it will run. So yeah, got the stem done. Onto the forks, it looks so good with that sticker on. So yeah, up underneath the crown race there, just a couple of little blasts in the nooks and crannies, over the top of the crown of the fork, and then yeah, just steady away down the legs a little bit at a time. Okay, so here we go, starting the assembly now. I've already pressed in the bearing cups, and that's an 1.8" Ritchie Logic headset that's on there. She came off the same Marin that the stem and handlebars came off of. So yeah, previously fitted the bearings, cleaned them up, greased them, and put them in the cups, so that's all ready to go on. Here we go, adding in that Marin stem that we repainted and stick it up as a Velocity. Just greased inside the head tube there, sliding it in, and we're going to just tighten that down. Okay, once we've got the stem in, then I could add in those lovely black alloy handlebars that again we've repainted. I'm just taking my time with this one because the paint's still a little bit soft. I didn't want to scratch it up as I slid it through the stem, but yeah, they went in really nice in the end, no marks on them at all. Okay, next step is to add in this, it's a Tioga 27mm seat post. So just greased it up and slid that one down there. Okay, once the seat post was in, then we could add on this, I think it's an SMP saddle. So just slackened that off, slid it in, and tightened it down. We can make the final adjustments once the bike is on the floor and we're happy with where everything's sitting. Okay, next step is to put this seal bearing bottom bracket in. So it's always a little bit of a faff getting the threads lined up because they're so fine, but it's all had a little coating of grease on it, so again, just a case of taking the time, spin that in, and then we'll put the cup on the other side once that's in. And now we can start adding the blingy stuff on, which is always a fun part of the build. I've got a nice crankset here, Shimano one that I've cleaned up, polished up. So yeah, just adding that on to the bottom bracket now. Okay, moving over to the other side, we've got the non-drive side arm going on. Really just straightforward now, another shiny polished part to put on the bike. Okay, now the bike is going to start to look a bit more like an actual bicycle because I'm putting the wheels in. So I built up these X-Age hubs onto some really nice array of rims. It's a match pair, and one thing I didn't do actually was get them dished properly when I built them. So as you see, I'm putting them in the frame here, and you'll notice that the tyre rubs a little bit on the non-drive side chainstay. So I fixed that up off camera, just adjusted the spokes and got them in there and spinning nice in the end. And again, with the front wheel, that's an X-Age hub on a matching array of rim. They're going in. Check out the Halo tyres, nice chunky white wall tyres, they're 2.2s, but they actually fit in the frame really good, and I think they suit it down to the ground with the black and white theme of the bike. Here we go with some of the components. So those were the XT STI brake levers and shifter units that went onto the bike. And I'm adding them onto those handlebars now. So the right hand side brake was actually a little bit sticky going on. I don't know if it's just because the paint made those handlebars a little bit thicker. But yeah, I ended up prying them apart with a screwdriver to slide them on. Just didn't want to scratch it up. Once I got the brake levers on, I went with some handlebar grips. I originally wanted to use some OD Attack grips, but I just could not get them to slide on. I tried using a bit of hairspray, which is what I normally use, but it just ended up eating away the paint a little bit. So I went with these lock-on grips in the end, and they went on pretty easy. So yeah, I'm happy with how they turned out. Here we go, adding on the front Dior XT derailleur. So just bolting that up to the frame now, making sure I get it all nice and square, and it doesn't foul the top chain ring when it's being used. Yeah, it's all lined up good. Once I was happy with that front derailleur, I had a matching rear Dior XT short cage derailleur to add to the frame. It's a maximum 28 teeth that can take, which is what this cassette has got on it. Perfect. Okay, following that, I mounted up the brake calipers and then added in the brake inner cables, outer cables, chain, and got it all set up ready to ride. Well, that about wraps it up for this one. I'm really pleased with how the bike turned out. We got the XT rear derailleur and front derailleur. We've got an X-Age wheel set, and we also got the XT brake levers and shifters combined, and the DX brakes, which look kind of like XT anyway. So all that's left really is to take it out for a little spin and see how it goes up the road. next time on Sparky's Bike Box.